Hey there, Eli coming at you again from OSA Coventry. Last night we did get a small order in. We got a whole bunch of freshies to fill up the store in Groton, and we did get a small amount of saltwater livestock to add to this store here in Coventry. Mostly invert heavy. We got a handful of different urchins. We got a bunch of Trochus snails, which is great because it's been a while. And it looks like we've got some cleaner shrimp and maybe some pistol shrimp as well. So this morning, me and Stacy are tasked with getting these guys out of the bags, getting them acclimated, and getting them ready for sale. So feel free to join us while we do so. So when we get new livestock in, a lot of times salties are actually bagged in their own small bags. So they do put as much water as they can and a whole bunch of air to make sure that these travel pretty well. I've got urchins and some pistol shrimp in this bucket here. We do try to keep things nice and sorted out so that we don't have any issues in the buckets with identifying things to make it easier for sorting them out afterward. And then we also want to make sure that we're not putting two things in that will kind of mess with each other, like putting hermit crabs in with snails is not the best option because sometimes you'll end up with some predation in those buckets. So I'm just going through these, making sure I'm as careful as possible, opening these bags up, especially with things like echinoderms like urchins and sea stars. You want to make sure that you are not exposing that animal to too much air when taking them out of the bag. But first and foremost, we pop all these bags open after sorting the animals out and just get them out of the bags. So now that I've got all these urchins and these pistol shrimps out of the bag and into this bucket, I'm going to drip acclimate them to our invert system. We generally do not keep the inverts and the fish in the same system because of the medications that we run our fish through. However, generally all these inverts are safe to go in this system here. Oftentimes they're going to come in at about full strength salinity, about 1.025 specific gravity, which is what we keep our tanks at. But we still want to make sure that we're dripping these animals for a short while to make sure that they acclimate to any water differences, acclimate to the temperature of the water, and most importantly pH, because that's one of the biggest things that can swing when they're bagged up for that long. Right here I have a small acclimation line. It is just a piece of airline tubing with a knot in the end of it. I get a small suction going, and we're just going to drip acclimate these guys over the course of an hour or two. Can adjust this little knot I made here just to make sure I'm getting a few drops per second. And these guys should be good to get checked on in half an hour or so. Another thing worth mentioning when we are acclimating animals, whether they be inverts or fish, a lot of times we are using a type of ammonia detoxifier or some sort of water conditioner, whether that be this Aquavitro Alpha, whether it be ACCR or Complete. These are always a good option to throw into those buckets as we're acclimating animals. A lot of times the ammonia will build up as the fish or the animals respirate and produce waste in those bags. So we want to make sure that that ammonia is not going to harm them. Usually once you do run into contact with outside air, that ammonia becomes a little more toxic. Adding this early on once we start dripping these animals is going to make sure that they are nice and happy throughout. So now that all these animals are dripping, I'm going to give them probably an hour, maybe two. We're going to at least quadruple the water that these were shipped in, and that's going to make sure that not only are they acclimated to salinity and temperature, but also some other things like pH, alkalinity, and some of the other things that your invertebrates are a little more sensitive to than your fishes. I'm going to leave these guys to drip for another hour or two, and then put them out for sale. They should all be ready to go by tomorrow morning. Thank you guys for tuning in as always. Hope you found that a little bit interesting to watch how we do acclimate the new invertebrates. As always, let us know if you have comments, questions, suggestions in the comment section below. And as always, keep on reefing.